So Zeeman makes a strong case for the living wage program,
Yeah.
right? Tell me a bit about the difference between minimum wage and living wage. What's the difference?
Yeah, so in the countries itself, they always pay the minimum wage in the factories. That's what we see, at least in the factories, and that's the minimum what the local government sets.
Right, so
Actually,
all right.
just a minimum for them. But actually, what we see, and also I think all other brands and NGOs sees with us, is that the minimum wage is not enough actually to live from, or just to pay basic needs, or pay medicines, or pay education for kids, etc. So we work towards a living wage, or let's say a target wage, in now 10 factories.
All right.
So that's an indication.
So because what the government says is, well, this you can earn X, that's the minimum
Yeah.
wage, but it's not enough, right?
Yeah.
So you say, okay, we want to up that to a living wage.
Yeah.
So do you calculate then country by country
Yes, we
what's
do.
the living
Yeah.
wage?
Yeah, I mean, what is the living wage is also being calculated by NGOs. So we also ask lots of stakeholders to give us feedback on this benchmark, let's say.
Okay.
So we don't calculate that one ourselves, but we have a look if what is the right one for that specific region, but also together with the supplier, because they know as the best what should be the good wage in that region.
How many percentage of your production and the people that work at that factories get a living wage from you? What's the
At a
percentage?
specific factory?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it differs because we are always paying the wage gap for our share of production. So within a factory, we can be 25%, for example. Then we close the gap for that part.
Yeah.
But also in other factory, together with Schijvens, another Dutch retailer, for example, we close the gap for 100%. But in total, like these 10 programs, we are for 25% of our purchasing value in only textile as a scope. We are closing that gap.
The sad truth is that we are only one of the few who do this. And by doing this, you have a lot of obstacles. And I think also Jason can testify to that. But for example, when we started in Pakistan, the person where we did it with, he also had a lot of complaints from his literally neighbors, other suppliers, said you are spoiling the market.
Ah.
So, and that's only one of the obstacles. There's so many other obstacles. So if it were up to us, we would do it right away.
Yeah.
But as we discussed before, we are step by step doing this.
Yeah.
And we will not give up. We will continue with it. But we actually need others to chip in.
To chip in.
Now it's something what Zeeman is doing. We don't have our own factories. We are buying at suppliers. So we ask that suppliers to give this extra payment. But in the long term, you want to change that. And also, we also have to think, we also have to guarantee that we stick to that factory, because it would be something if we say, okay, you get a living wage from Zeeman, but next year we're going to buy in another factory,
Right.
and they don't get their wages anymore. So we also have a responsibility for the people.
To stay with that factory.
Exactly.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it's also one of the reasons why we don't grow too fast, because you cannot give an extra wage this year.
And then
so you have to also
transfer
look
to
at
the
the
next one.
long term.